Good morning. I'm Catherine Ross, and I'm here with Jim Cramer. We're joining you via Skype this morning in our parts to practice social distancing. Jim, what's top of mind for you this morning?
Well, on top of mind for me is that employment number, which shows the beginning of what people are starting to realize. It's going to be millions upon millions of unemployed. I think you're going to start talking about the Great Depression. I think you're going to start talking about whether small business is this go around subprime, meaning that it's just an intractable problem that we can't get rid of very quickly. I do think that there's been phenomenal acceptance already this morning of the plan for the paycheck protection. But Catherine, I got to tell you, it's going to be a very rough road unless something happens with the disease, and it's got to happen. Can't be. You can't wait. It's got to happen.
So we did get the number this morning for the March jobs, and that's that we lost 701,000. Jim, yesterday when we talked about the job number, you said that this is not going to reflect the full extent of the March jobs report, or the coronavirus shutdown. So I'm wondering, based on that, Jim, is this going to be worse than we thought
Yeah, I
going
mean, because
forward?
I was surprised to see how much white collar was lost. I think everyone expected really bad numbers in restaurant, hotel, leisure, but this white collar decline, it's very curious and it's unexpected. And I think that it therefore makes this thing broader than just small business, or these small businesses that this kind of layoff is the kind of layoff that says what's happening is that there will be companies that are traditional, let's say, law firms, small banks, and they're laying people off because they're just saying we're not going to get the kind of business that we thought we were going to get. And I just think that this is the precursor to what we got to hope. And I've got a plan. I mean, I don't didn't come in idly to the speaker. I got a plan to try to solve this. It's incumbent that everyone try to think about how to beat it. I can't solve it scientifically, but I have a way to be able to I think at least get us to the next level after this plan runs its course.
Now, we may not be able to solve it scientifically just yet, but it seems that the UK is trying to come up with a solution economically, and that is that they're considering an immunity passport, which sounds to me as if they would allow key workers who have been through the virus and have the antibodies and can prove that they have the antibodies to return back to work. Should this US administration start thinking about something like that?
That is what they want to do. They had a testing. They didn't know how to do the testing, and then they had Roche and Thermo do a lot of testing, but the testing results went to Quest. Atlantic Magazine showed you what happened when they did that. They were deluged. They didn't get it. That's why you had this like, hey, I haven't run my test yet. I haven't run my test yet. So that was very ineffective. We just got this week's Abbott Labs. Some hospitals are saying the Abbott Labs 5-minute test isn't perfect, but it's a way. We have to test everybody. And the only way to be able to make it so that we can get back to work is that everybody, until we get a vaccine, is that everybody has to be tested. Just nationwide. There should be like a testing clinic on every corner. That's our hope, because there's a considerable number of people who I think are able to go and become customers again, but not yet. And I think until we test everybody, we're not going to be able to function. Function as an economy.
Jim, I was reminded this morning that I really started reporting on the coronavirus back in January, and that's really when you and I started talking about it on the show, actually.
Right.
So I'm wondering, let's put that in perspective here in regards to 3M being at having the Defense Production Act enacted on them. I'm wondering if President Trump's decision to enact that now is a little too late, or should it have been done 2 months ago when we
The
first started talking
president
about
had,
this?
look, I think throughout this thing, what's very clear is they didn't know how to procure. And they didn't know which organization should procure. Maybe it should have been FEMA. Maybe it should have been, I don't know, Vice President Pence. But there was just terrible procurement of ventilators, terrible procurement of masks. The private sector's been doing more to get to get masks than anybody else. Terrible procurement of gowns, the personal protection equipment, of swabs where they had the wrong ones. Right, every single one was every single one was requisitioned badly, and it's a total reflection on the disorganization administration. I know I've been forgiving because COVID is so it has come and it kind of was so unexpected. And yeah, I sounded the alarm. I didn't go to the Super Bowl game. I came back and said, listen, everyone has to recognize this is going to be a terrible thing that's about to come to the country. But they didn't. And look, I'm not. There's one of these things where I know I do my part. I have no illusions. I have a TV show, but I knew this was coming and I said it. There's some things I didn't see coming, some things I do see coming. And it meant nothing. They did not. I worked behind the scenes too. I said, listen, guys, this is some serious stuff. You got to get all these masks. You got to get this thing together. But they didn't, and they got it wrong. And I got TJX. I got TJX wrong, and I got Tyson Foods wrong. And I got Viacom wrong. And I'm looking at the camera. I'm telling you, I got this wrong. I screwed up. I thought Tyson would do well because we solved a trade dispute. I thought TGX would do well because there's so many retailers going out of business, they'll be able to buy all this stuff. I got had by Viacom because I believed in the story. Uh, and I mentioned that because have you ever heard our president say that he made any mistakes? He's like one of those hedge fund managers. Come on, they're never wrong. And I'm human. I make mistakes. I own the mistakes. You have to own the mistakes in order to learn from them. But I think it's time for the administration to say, listen, we procured poorly, and stop blaming Mike Roman. Jesus, Mike Roman, he makes masks. If you ask for the masks, he's going to give them to you. If you don't ask for the masks, he's going to give them to you.
Jim, this has been a rough week for everyone, and the markets have been ever volatile. So let's turn our heads to next week. So, what are you going to be watching next week?
Next week, we want to find out how many small business loans have been made. We want to know whether how badly what's the death toll. We want to see if Spain peaks, if the Italian peak is for real. We want to get a sense on whether we're going to pass 1 million on the job loss, and I think that we're going to hope for some news on the Gilead antiviral, remdesivir, and that would be very important. And that's kind of the things that I'm looking for.
All right, Jim, thanks for joining us today. We are now heading over to our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown Show, which is going live for the very first time. It's very exciting. Come join us over there on actionalertsplus.com. I'm Catherine Ross, and we will see you next week.